live as can be. Let me turn off this music, though I kind of like it. Here's the thing, though, because I'm noticing this right now. There is definitely a delay. There is like a 2 minute delay in between what you guys are seeing and what I am talking right now. And it's probably because I'm using this streaming software. I mean, that's gotta be the reason. So there's a that's already kind of one thing I need to figure out going forward because I'm watching myself right now, but then I have the YouTube channel on the side here, um, and I can see that it's still a minute 30. So there's gonna be I'm gonna have to figure that out going forward here. But that's kind of the way technology works right now. So, but I'm just chatting with some people in the chat right now and letting y'all know that there's like a huge delay in what you guys are seeing and what I'm seeing on the stuff over here. Anyway, let's let's get this music. Let's stop the music. That's enough with the music. So, what am I doing here? I'm basically just testing this out um to kind of see, what's going on with doing live streaming. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and right now it's just me on the stream, but I am using a platform that will enable me to bring in others as well. So, and now I'm actually live on the YouTube channel. Holy shit, that's a huge, huge difference as far as what's live and what is coming in. So that's already kind of one thing I got to figure out going forward. The thing is, it's like using this platform. It's going to enable me to be able to bring in other people. Whereas if I do it on straight up off of YouTube, it's only going to be me. And that is not, that's not going to work at the end of the day. So, I mean, that's just kind of what the situation is. Um, but I'm just going to text Eric and just see if he can hear me. Um, yeah, it's weird. I kind of already don't like the way this is going right now, but I mean, it is kind of what it is. Just testing this out to kind of see what works. So, what are we doing here? We're gonna watch St. John's is um St. John's is happening at noon, and then the Mets play at 1, and then there's just so people know about the I can show I was messaging people about what's happening with the stream being so uh there's a lag here with it. So again, it is what it is. I kind of wish that wasn't the case, but it kind of does make it hard when you're watching a game and you're trying to react to what's happening, and people are not going to get the reaction until like until like 2 minutes later. It's a little annoying, but yeah, again, I want to test this out. I just kind of want to see what this was like to do and to watch a game in real time and just provide real time commentary as we go along here. So, you know, this is just one of those things that, like I mentioned, I've been wanting to do for a while, and um, I'm just funny because I'm watching myself on the YouTube, on the actual YouTube channel, and it's just like freaky by how much I'm behind. I mean, the reason you do this, for those who don't know, you kind of want to see that the stream is healthy, the stream health, and so YouTube gives you a real time type of thing over here, and it says the stream is healthy. So that's good to know. Um, but yeah, so for those who are unaware, Two Dummies That Just Watch, we are a sports podcast that has been going on now since July of 2024. And, it's kind of crazy that it's kind of okay. So the delay is not that bad. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of doing this in real time. This is kind of fun, 30-second delay. That's not terrible. So yeah, I mean, again, like I mentioned, this was something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I think what we're gonna do, uh, yeah, we definitely got to grab a beer soon. Uh, that is for sure, my man. Because I know you live in Jersey now, so we definitely gotta do that at some point, and just go to a Mets game too. I mean, I think that's when the season starts, we can definitely find time to do that. So yeah, so anyway, going back to the podcast situation, July of 2024, we've been doing it once a week. We're almost at 100 episodes, which is crazy when you think about it, because I have started podcasts in the past and it never really got past a handful. And I did one for my job too a few years back. This was like years ago. By the way, I want to get rid of this thing because I don't like that it's there. The logo. Yeah, let's get rid of that because I know on the stream itself, I've got the watermark in the corner. So we don't need both of those there. Anyway, so yeah, I think a lot of podcasts fail. A lot of podcasts fail in the first 10 episodes. So the fact that we've made it to almost 100 is saying a lot. And there are some people that know I did try doing a video game slash wrestling podcast, and that didn't really go well. I think the issue is that you need more than one person. I think most of the time you need to have at least two people on a podcast. I think solo podcasting only really works if you are like a well-known entity beforehand, because I've seen it. There are solo podcasters out there that have huge audiences. I mean, I listen to a couple of them, but I think even though I have media experience and things of that nature, I tried doing that show by myself, and it's hard. It's really hard to do. Trust me, I can talk all day about pro wrestling and video games. I can. I mean, it's not even a question about that. I think the problem is having somebody to bounce off of throughout the show. In the same way that we do, when you guys watch Two Dummies, for those who do watch, and I encourage you to please subscribe and go look up Two Dummies That Just Watch on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but it's hard to do solo. But so listen, I am slowly but surely trying to get the other podcast together. I want to do it. Eric's gonna join me. He's gonna be on every single week. We've already, him and I have already talked about it. We're trying to get my brother involved as well because I really do want to have him on because I think, listen, he plays a lot more video games than I do, and he plays them very, very deeply. He watches more wrestling than I do. I think. I know it's been kind of hard for him lately, but um, you know, I think it would be good for all three of us to be on at the same time because Eric is more of a WWE guy. I am really more of an AEW guy now. My brother watches both, but I also watch New Japan. And I know Eric said he does watch TNA. So I think at some point we're gonna bring all of that together and get some. Yeah, I think I think being a guest, I'm trying to like watch the chat. I should put myself on the chat here so I have the chat up and I can see what's going on. But yeah, that's kind of, yeah, I get what you're saying, bringing it on the guest weekly. Yeah, I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to do a different I've got a couple of people in mind, and I think what could happen is, and this is usually happens, right? I know somebody who has a pretty large following that I want to get on the show, and I'm hoping once he gets on that others will follow. He's an academic and he actually used to be a sports writer like me, but he teaches journalism at, I believe, at Binghamton. So he's actually not far from where I live because I'm in Newburgh. I'm in the Newburgh section of New York, and he's probably what, 2.5 hours in the Binghamton area. So I think he would be good to bring on because he has written a lot about what's going on with the sports betting right now, and how that's basically ruining sports on many levels. So I think that's kind of like one situation. He's very, I believe, from what I've read, very in tune with what's going on with nil and college sports and the payments that are going on in college sports. And I just want to chat with him too about what's going on with journalism these days, and especially kind of what's going on with the whole AI situation, because that's a big deal right now for people that are in my corner of the world and who are journalists. And I used to be one, and I work in PR now, and thankfully I do have a job now that is going to, it has to do with AI, not in the way people think, but it does have to do with AI. So I mean, I think that I want to have that conversation with him at the end of the day, because I think, listen, no offense to Eric and Lijay, but they're not former journalists, and there's not that there's anything missing in translation, but I know that this guy can bring a different perspective than they do on um these different topics, because journalism journalism is in trouble right now. It really is, and I appreciate that. I put that up on the thing there, just talking about you know what's going on with the podcasting stuff. But journalism is in trouble right now, and it pains me to see kind of what's happening with that. But so I think he would be a good person to have on, and then kind of go from there. Guys, I listen, it's hard. It's hard when you work 45, 50 hours a week. And sometimes I just don't want to be sitting here on a computer for 2 to 3 hours on any given day doing something completely else. Don't get me wrong. I love doing this. Like, I love talking like this. I've always had these ideas, so many freaking ideas about doing things like this, and in different areas, whether it's sports or whether it's video games or whether it's pro wrestling or whether it's just like life in general. There is a lot, I think, to be said about just getting on a microphone and chatting with people. But we're 8 minutes from tip off here, and I this is kind of, I feel like this is kind of a trap game right now for St. John's. And I'll tell you why. Because on Wednesday, I just want to make sure I'm looking at this. I want to look at the schedule and just make sure. So, listen, the league is down, right? The league is down overall, and these next 2 to 3 games, um, yeah, I get it, man. With the content creation, if you can't focus on that every single day, that's a great point. And I know you've done some streaming, so like I get that. Um, Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's such a it's so difficult when you've got a full-time job and just like life in general, and you're trying to do this thing on the side and trying to do it for fun, but you're also hoping that you catch a lightning in a bottle and can, I don't know, make some money off of it. At least, bro, if I can get to a point with the podcasts that I can pay my costs of hosting and like my internet bill, I'd be really happy about that. That's not even like crazy. That's maybe, I don't know, 250 a month. If I can get it to that point, then I'd be because I'm absorbing the costs right now. I'm absorbing the cost of hosting the podcast on a platform. I'm absorbing the cost of getting Opus clips going, making the clips. I'm absorbing the cost of getting, well, Lee J and I split the difference on getting the theme song done for the podcast. So I mean, at least for that, but yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap to do this stuff at the end of the day. It adds up. So if I can get to a point to where I am just covering my costs, then I can kind of go from there. Anyway, that's a good point though. Going back to St. John's as we're getting ready for tip off here. It's a trap game. It's as simple as that. Creighton's 14 and 13. Next two games, St. John's is playing UConn. That is on a Wednesday at 7. And then next Saturday, St. John's is back at the Garden to play Villanova. And Villanova's up. I'm surprised Villanova's not ranked right now. So, it's not that it's impossible to win in Hartford because um we just saw that happen. We just saw it was Creighton, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me just make sure about that. I mean, Creighton just went in there and beat UConn, if I'm not mistaken. Where yeah, they beat UConn in stores on in I think they were playing at Hartford. I can't remember where exactly they were playing, but yeah, so it can be done. UConn is not, they're struggling a little bit right now, and now is kind of the chance. So I'm gonna. All right. I hope nobody heard that. Um, I just put the channel on Fox to watch to get the St. John's thing going. So um, I just got a text from Eric. Yeah, it said it looks good. So that's good. That's good to that's good to know. I'm gonna keep talking even though there's nobody watching because I know there's nobody watching right now. And kind of go from there. But um yeah, so like it's a two team race right now between St. John's and UConn, and I think that's just kind of the situation right now with the Big East. It's a down year, and well, this is a sports podcast, right? um, that's kind of the way this goes. But but yeah, it is a down year, and that's just kind of well, I appreciate that. Um, it's a down year, and that's just kind of the way it is right now. It's funny because my buddy Carl, who I've mentioned on the podcast before, when a team like Marquette and Creighton are not amongst the top teams in the league, it's not good overall. And it's a problem. It's a problem for the conference. when only three teams, in this case, UConn, St. John's, and Villanova, are the ones that are really pulling the conference forward. You're only going to have three teams in the conference make the tournament, probably at this point. If I'm not mistaken, they're putting out something comes out this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, about the way that they're looking at picking for Selection Sunday. So we'll see how that goes and where St. John's is. I would say right now, I don't know, man. They're probably anywhere between a 3 and 5 seed. I think if they go outright and win the Big East tournament, win the Big East conference outright, and then win the conference tournament, they're probably going to be a 2 seed uh, at the end of the day. So, um, am I calling shenanigans? I have no idea. As far as St. John's is concerned, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I know what you mean by that. Um, but see, now I lost my train of thought because you confused me there with that question. um, what was I saying? Yeah, just about the seating situation. Like, what's going to happen there at the end of the day if they win outright right now? I don't know. Number 2 seed, I can't see them being a number 1 seed. I really can't. Unless something happens to the other teams that are in the field, the top teams right now, I don't see them being a number 1 seed. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes at the end of the day. But we're getting ready here. I wonder. I'm curious, like what the delay is for, because I'm streaming. I'm streaming the stream, right? I'm streaming the game. I'm logged into my Verizon account. They got a way to watch to watch the game. Oh, Creighton, yeah, yeah. I listen. They're not a good team right now, which is funny because they have been in the past. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. Um, they're down. I mean, they beat UConn, and if Creighton goes on a little bit of a run here, maybe they sneak in somehow, some way. Maybe they're a first four team, but I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. So the broadcast is starting right now. They always show the shot of the Brooklyn Bridge as they're coming in. So I wonder who's on the call today. I guess we're going to see here in a few minutes. I'm always curious about this one dude that has the suit on. Here we go. Top 5 teams receive a bye in the Big East tournament. So right now it's St. John's, UConn, Villanova, Seton Hall, and Creighton. So I mean, Seton Hall. I forgot about Seton Hall. They're only two wins away from a 21 season. So listen, maybe they're the fourth team that gets into the tournament. Oh, Donnie Marshall's on the call. Alex Faust. I have no idea who that is. I'm just glad that it's not uh, Gus Johnson, because I think a lot of us, if people are unfamiliar with how I feel about Gus Johnson, um, I don't like that man at all. I just think he's way too over the top with a lot of the stuff that he puts out there. So it is what it is. I would rather have. So here we go. 12-game winning streak, best since 2018. It's the third longest win streak in D1. 7 different players have led the team in scoring. They haven't lost. Man, that Providence game. Going back to s- the of course, I get it. I get the whole Jersey thing, going for the Jersey schools. Listen, Seton Hall's having a good year. They're having a good season. Um, and I think they probably could get in. Depending on get the 20 wins in the conference, and then make some noise in the tournament. Get to, I don't know, quarterfinals, maybe even the semifinals, and then kind of see what happens. I mean, St. John's is in. Like one way or the other, St. John's is going to be in the tournament. It's just a matter of where they get seated and how far they go. I don't like we're at this point now where people are like, "Oh, they're a Final Four team. Oh, at least an Elite Eight team." I don't know, man. I think in some ways it is good that they're kind of in some way flying under the radar because they came into this season as a top five team. They were ranked number five when the season started, and they played some tough teams in the beginning. They were in a couple of tournaments. They didn't fare well. I believe they lost to Kentucky in one of those tournaments. And I gotta admit, I was wrong. And I think I've said that on a podcast just about, you know, playing that tough schedule. I felt like they should have eased into it more at the end of the day and maybe started playing those tough teams at the beginning of December, beginning to, in between the first 2 weeks, beginning uh the first to the 15th of December. But you know what? They're crediting the way they handled that situation and the way they struggled during that time. It propelled them to play well now. So they're playing well now because of the struggles that they went through during that stretch run. And then that loss to Providence at home. Now we're talking about what? That's what, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago now? That woke them up. And you could see it. You could see that they woke them up because Providence came in and it beat them out at the Garden. And that's just not supposed to happen at the end of the day, especially when Providence is having a down season. So yeah, just one of those things where they need to focus today. They need to make sure that they don't get into any bad habits, just as far as, oh, I like the way the court looks today. They've got Johnny Thunderbird in the middle as the logo. That's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what the crowd is. Let's see who's starting today. Sannon, Sellers, Mitchell, Hopkins, Edgefor. It's interesting that Darling comes off the bench, but I do think it's probably a good look for them is to have him come off the bench and be a spark. I mean, bro, that guy's been he's been unbelievable for St. John's. Like the fact that he has, what was he, the player of the year for, I forget what conference it was. It might have been the WAC, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but when Patino was saying that you have like brass balls at the end of the day, I mean, what more can you ask for? He's been a nice spark. I just hope he's around. This is the problem with this nil shit. I just hope that he's around next season because you got to pay the man. He's probably going to be looking for more money, depending on how he finishes the season. But anyway, we're on the way here at the Garden. The Garden looks like it's a pretty good crowd here. I think the key here is going to be just getting off to a good start on the offense. And Edge of Four's already got an offensive rebound, but he got fouled on the play there, so he's going to be going to the line already. Um, yeah, I think you know come out here and dominate early and make sure that because Creighton's feeling good right now. They just beat UConn. They just beat UConn in Hartford slash Stores. I forget where the game, where that game was played, but you know they um they're feeling good about themselves, and you know nothing would be better, I don't think, than for Creighton to come in here onto the East Coast and beat the top two teams in the conference right now as Edger Four makes the first his first couple of free throws here, and already the pressure's on. I mean, this is the thing that St. John's has to do, right? This is the thing that they've become known for. is kind of putting on that full court press in the beginning and really causing havoc. I would love to see kind of what how many points off turnovers or off this pressure that St. John's has scored this year. I would have to imagine that they are, that they are tops in the league right now. Creighton misses a 3-pointer there, and St. John's gets the rebound. Mitchell's been great. He just went the length of the floor for a layup, and now St. John's is up 4-0. 19:06 left. Dylan Mitchell. It's crazy that he's only been averaging 8.8 points a game. By the way, I'm not sure St. John's gets a steal here. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to kind of do play-by-play here, if there's a violation or not. But I guess we're gonna see. St. John's is up now 6-0. See, this is the thing. Up 6-0 right off the bat here in the first 2 minutes. This is exactly what they needed to do. They needed to come out and be strong and put the pressure on right away here and just get things going as Creighton misses another shot, and Hopkins is bringing it up the court, and he just bullied his way, and Creighton calls a timeout. St. John's up 8-0 here with 18-18 left in the first half, and this is exactly what I want to see right now. I think St. John's is not stupid. Like Patino has done this so many freaking times that he knows that you got to come out here and, for lack of a better cliche, put the pedal to the metal. And boy, Hopkins is a big dude, man. He is fucking wide, and he came down that court after I think he just got the rebound and just bullied his way to the basket for the easy layup. So, St. John's is 84 points, second in the Big East, the most since 1972-73 season, which is like it's kind of insane to look at. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my phone, but wow, Creighton leads all-time series 19-14 versus St. John's. That's interesting. But St. John's has won the last three meetings here. But they're St. Creighton's 0-5 at Madison Square Garden as Creighton just turns it over again. And my God, these guys. That's right. I forgot that St. John's beat Creighton in the championship game last year. I was there. Jesus Christ. My memory is terrible, by the way, guys. I think that's been well established. That's been well established on the podcast as Hopkins misses about a 15-footer there on the left side. But again, playing good defense, and that's kind of been as Creighton scores finally. So it's 8-2, 17-32 left in the first half. I think that's kind of like the one thing that we've seen from Hopkins again, layup and one. Good Lord. What, did they count that? Or was that an offensive foul? No, looks like it was an offensive foul. Oh no, it was. It was Hopkins getting the bucket underneath. Nice pass from edge of four, and Hopkins with the and one. I can't tell if that was an and one or not. 23 points against Marquette on. No, that was not an and one. Oh, it was. It was. It's 11-2. I wonder if the score thing is off. Again, put the pressure. Pressure's on right away here. To start. Why am I getting a text message? What's the text message? God, I tell you, bro, new era. New era is always peppering me with hats, deals on hats. I need new hats though. It's been a while since I have gotten a new hat. I usually buy a nice new fresh Mets hat every year. So we'll see what they have in the store here. Creighton's really struggling here, and St. John's is just like having their way. right now as Ejiofor gets fouled deep in the paint here. And he's going to go to the line for two. I listen. I think I missed my calling here as as a sports broadcaster. Holy shit, dude! I haven't done this in a while. I actually used. I did not used to. That's a lie. Um, Interesting. Ejiofor is the only major player in a major conference that leads the conference in what was that? Points, rebounds. I am assuming blocks was on there as well, but um he made the first free throw, by the way. Sinks the second one. St. John's now is up 13-2 here in the first 3.5 minutes of the game. Pressure there, but the ball goes out of bounds on St. John's. And yeah, I don't think anybody else is watching right now, but that's fine. That's just kind of, again, this is a test. I want to at least make it to the Mets game at 1 o'clock. So I tell you what, this is tough to keep talking by yourself all the time. That's just, this is what happens when I did invite Legion to come on, but he had his son's basketball game, and Eric's out and about doing whatever the fuck he's doing, shopping right now. I tell you what, that is, as much as I complain about being single and stuff like that, I don't have to worry about getting stuck in TJ Maxx for 2 hours. But that's just kind of what comes with the territory. St. John's gets another steal here. See, I don't like that. I feel, who was that was coming down the court there? That was Sellers. Sometimes these guys get out of control, with and it's just like, come on, man, just pass the fucking ball, dude. That was blocked out of bounds there, if I'm not mistaken. Zuby misses a elbow jumper there from the left, 15 feet out. Creighton gets the rebound here. A lot of red today. A lot of red in the crowd, obviously. Creighton just got a layup there. Dix is like their best player, clearly. So St. John's is up here, 13-4, wide open, Sandin for 3. Woof! 16, St. John's is on. Then Creighton got an easy transition bucket on the other end. St. John's is up now 16-6 with a little over 15 minutes left in this first half. They're looking good, man. I mean, again, this is exactly, what you wanted from them. My only concern, and this sometimes happened with St. John's, with this team that I've noticed this season, is that they go on these droughts on offense, and they sometimes have a hard time. Excuse me, they have a hard time coming out of them. Sometimes it's Hopkins. Man, Hopkins he is bullying his way into the paint right now. Like, they don't have anybody who can guard him. There's an offensive foul there, I think, on the floor, and it's going to be a TV timeout. But again, so St. John's up 16-6, 14:43 left in the first half here as we have gone to a commercial break. So this is the time to kind of say hello and welcome you to the stream again. If you don't know what's going on here, we are testing out a live stream for the day just to kind of see how this works. And yeah, so far so good. Like, at some point, Lee J and I are gonna sit down and watch a Knicks game. We're gonna do it on stream as well. We're gonna sit down and watch a Knicks game, and he's gonna come up here, not for the stream, but we're gonna sit down and watch a Knicks game and kind of just. I want to see what he sees, right? I want to see because the funny thing about Lee J is that we like to joke around. He knows ball, and I want to know. I kind of want to know where that comes from because I know him as mostly like baseball, but and he'll laugh at this. He was kind of like a local legend in some ways. I don't know. At least in Greenpoint on the court, bro. They were, and they played a lot more than I did because I just sucked at basketball. I mean, that's why I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Like I was terrible. That was my worst of the three sports that I played consistently throughout my life. Baseball was always first. Then came football, and then came basketball. And I picked up basketball very late. It was the one that I picked up the latest, and I was just terrible. I was just I couldn't create off the dribble. I thought I was like 7 foot because I patterned my game after Shaq. So I would be like, get the ball down in the post and try to bully my way to the basket, but um couldn't shoot really for shit. Couldn't shoot far. 15 footers, maybe 18. Couldn't shoot a free throw I mean, a 3 pointer to save my life. But Lee J was really good. I mean, he definitely moved on the court in a way that made you think, man, if he would have been, I don't know, a few inches taller, who knows, right? I'm like who knows what could have happened, but it's interesting to kind of think about. I'm gonna text him right now and uh, St. John's is 25-6 at the Garden on the Bertino. Hold on, I'm texting Lee J. I'm gonna tell him about his legendary basketball skills. I think he'll get a kick out of this. You're missing out, buddy. Anyway, St. Creighton just scored here, 16-8 now with 14:33 left in the half. So Hopkins just again, man, he's having a game, boy. He is definitely having a game right now. 7 points already, 3 or 5 shooting. He's playing hard defense, playing hard in the defensive end. I've got to imagine for to be a Patino, like what is the ideal Patino player? I don't I think it probably starts on offense, right? I mean, on defense, I should say, because and Darling's in the game now for the first time, and he just got a steal. I mean, that guy is all over the place. But unfortunately, they just turned it over. The mini Greek freak, got caught for a double dribble. I can't believe they actually call that still. Um, yeah, Darling comes in and diving on the floor. This is what I'm talking about. This dude is awesome. Like, I love this guy. He's an undersized guy at the point guard position, and he just plays his ass off all the freaking time. He just blocks somebody. He just fucking blocks somebody. Holy shit. Damn, bro. That's unbelievable. Let's see what happened here. Number 5, and then Darling just blocked him. Holy shit. Off of Graves. And a ball goes, let's see, whose ball is it here? Last 3 games, he is averaging, yeah, it's St. John's ball. He's averaging 13 points a game, 5.3 rebounds, and 3 assists in the last 3 games. So crazy. Just insane, dude. Guys, I mean, you is an offensive foul here on St. John's on Ruben Prey. So it's let's reset here. St. John's is up 10, 18-8 with 13:31 left in the first half. But talking about Darling, and I think it goes back to what I was just saying about, what type of player is Patino looking for at the end of the day. I think it all starts on defense and making sure that you're going to play hard on defense, because we know that Patino likes to pressure. Once they make a bucket, he's going to set up a full court trap and try to just like cause havoc. So I think you've got to be willing to be dirty, not be dirty, like play dirty, but dive on the floor, shit like that. That's what I mean by that, by play dirty. So I think that's kind of like one thing that that Patino's looking for at the end at to start, and then can you execute on the offensive end when needed? And I don't. It's interesting because I gotta do honestly gotta do some research on this. Because I have to imagine they do have set plays here, but I'm not sure if they do. I don't know how much these guys are freelancing out there during the game, but I would have to imagine in college you have more set plays than the pros. The thing is, I don't, and we let's turn over there by St. John's. I think the problem at the end of the day, as Freeman gets fouled, he's going to go to the line for two. I think the problem here, I don't. I'm like blabbering here. I don't see a lot of the point guard in college basketball these days coming up the court with the ball and looking to the sideline to get the play from the coach. You don't see that as much, right? And I think that just goes to show you how much the game has changed over the years to where you're not seeing it. I would have to assume that during certain situations that yes, they do have play set at the end of the day to for certain situations, inbounds with like 5 seconds left and you're down by one or down by two or need a 3 pointer to tie. I'm assuming because like Darling just brought the ball down. He's not looking at Patino, you know, anything as Zuby makes a free throw jumper. See, this is the thing. St. John's was in a drought there for a while, and now finally they're. I'm. It was a foul on the Greek. I can't say his last name. I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, come on, that's a foul. But Patino's like losing his shit on the sidelines, and I'm surprised he doesn't get teed up more. That's what happens when you're Rick Patino. How is Creighton playing? They are struggling a bit. Who is this? They're down by 10. 12:23 left to St. John's. St. John's is bullying them right now. That's what's happening. They're getting bullied by St. John's. I think they just missed a really bad 3-pointer and just missed a bunny rebound, offensive rebound. I think Creighton might be tired from what happened on what was it, Wednesday or Thursday, when they beat UConn. I'm assuming they stayed out here. They stayed out here during that time. They did not go back to Nebraska. But we got a timeout here on the floor. I think it's a TV timeout. Yep. So St. John's is up 20-10 with 11:48 left in the half. Yeah, listen, I think everybody's a little surprised that Creighton's down this year. I think they've been one of the stalwarts in the Big East for the last 4 to 5 seasons, and it's a down year. And I was having the conversation with a buddy of mine, Carl, that I mentioned before, and we were wondering, why is the conference so heavy, top heavy this year? Because you've got St. John's, you've got Villanova, you got UConn, you've got Seton Hall, and we wonder if these other teams just can't afford to pay for better players, and that's a problem. I think. Um, we saw the Marquette game on, and this is where recruiting now is a big deal, right? We saw the Marquette game on whatever it was, Wednesday or Thursday, earlier in the week, and the freshman. I was shocked. Like, they got a true freshman playing, right? They got a true freshman playing. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was good. I don't know if anybody watched the game or saw some of the highlights from the game, but he played well. So I think what's going to have to start happening now is, I think some of these lesser schools like DePaul, like Marquette, and others in the conference are going to have to really recruit well, and then hope for the best as far as money opening up to pay for a player. I don't know. This is why I want to have the guy I was talking about earlier on the podcast and talk about the situation of what's happening with nil, because it's completely changing college sports. Look, when it comes to St. John's right now, they've got money. They've got money flowing. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it is what it is. The guy who owns Vitamin Water, he went to St. John's, and he's the big booster right now. It's like, hey, here's $1 million. Go find the best players. So that's like one of the issues, I think right now, and I appreciate the question because this kind of got me on a a complete like tangent as we're doing a commercial break right now. I don't know, man. The Big East is always going to have it tough in a way because it's not a football conference anymore the way it used to be, and it's really it's basketball heavy. It's always going to be basketball heavy from now on, and you got to hope that the lesser teams recruit well, and they're just showing the game from last. I was at this game. They're showing the highlights from last year's Big East championship. I was at that game last year, and I can't even remember that. Holy shit! Yeah, look at this. Last year, Creighton was 25-11, 15-5 in the Big East. St. John's was 31-5, 18-2 in the conference, and it's just been it's a big difference. Creighton 14-3 right now, whereas St. John's is 21-5 and 14-1 in the Big East. So it's interesting. I don't know what happened. I don't follow Creighton basketball enough. I think one thing I kind of want to start doing, and again, I appreciate the question. One thing I kind of want to start doing next year is really taking a deep dive into watching Big East games, so I feel like I'm more qualified, because I can talk to you about St. John's all day. I mean, this is kind of the thing as Edgefor gets another bucket and deep in the paint. This is I get a little frustrated when I watch Zuby play from the position of, I feel like at some point they should have been doing this earlier in the year when they were struggling. And I think the problem was, when you don't have a true point guard, you don't feed the big man. And I still believe this is the case in college basketball, that you can do a lot of damage in the paint if you have a post player there at the end of the day. But when you don't have a point guard, by the way, Dick's had season high 21 points on against UConn on Wednesday. When you don't have a point guard, a true point guard on the team, you're not looking for the guy underneath the basket at the end of the day. So it's just, it's frustrating because Zuby is a talented player. I don't know what his NBA prospects are as Creighton. They just scored in the paint there. Creighton's hanging around. They're only down. They're down by 10. Listen, this is not going to be easy. It's conference time, baby. And Creighton's coming off that win against UConn earlier this week. So it's not going to be, you know, this is not going to be a walk in the park. But I feel like St. John's, they can't fall into this trap that sometimes they do, where they go cold from the field. So um yeah, I don't know. St. John's is up 10 here with 10:32 left in the game, in the first half, I should say. So we're about half an hour from Mets first pitch. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have the Mets game on my iPad. So, I'll transition into talking about the Mets. Obviously still talk about St. John's, but you know, talk about the Mets and kind of see where that goes. I don't know if my oh boy. Make sure that my AirPods are not connected. Because I saw they connected, and I just want to make sure that they don't. So they are not right now anymore. Just making sure about that. So, yeah. Okay. We're still going here, obviously. I do want to kind of do a check here of the stream. Because I've got this going. Give me 1 second because I just want to see how the stream's going. I'm going to put myself on mute. Okay. I just wanted to kind of see where things were there, that the stream was going okay. Anyway, see, this is it. They're St. John just getting in a little bit of trouble right here. I just messed up I gotta refresh this now because I just hit something by accident, and now I gotta go back in and get back to the game itself. Oh, okay. Hit the mute button. We're good. See, now here's the thing. Now Creighton's coming back here. They're down 24-18. This is exactly what the problem is. This is exactly what happens. This is what I was afraid of. So we've got a timeout here on the floor. So St. John's up 24-18 with 8:30 left in the game. In the first half, I should say. I keep on saying game. So all right, we got a timeout here. I just want to see how is the stream coming up here. Give me a second here. Just give me 1 second. Well, hold on. I want to. I just kind of want to see what this is looking like on the other end. Um, this is so funny looking at myself. 1 second. I'm gonna put myself on mute. Give me 1 minute. Okay. I just kind of want to see what that was looking like on the other end. So funny. I'm looking at myself on the app here from my other account. We're on a commercial break right now. I need to get some water because I haven't had some in a while. But appreciate those that have stuck around because I feel like I'm in the void right now. I shared this on I shared this on Facebook and Instagram, and nobody's come by to say hello. It's a shame. People have left me high and dry, unfortunately. So um, it is what it is. Yeah, and that one person watching now, it's because I have it on the in the background, so I can make sure everything is going well. That's me. I'm the one person. But I do have it closed. So I wonder why it's showing up as one. I wonder if anybody else is watching right now. Um Coming back from a commercial right now. Let's see what things are looking like on the back end. And yeah, I mean, I've never done this before. So it's interesting to kind of see, the way this works. My stream health is still healthy, which is always a good thing at the end of the day. It's good to know that the internet is working well, I guess. But yeah, 18 views. I'm not even sure what that means. The most viewers I had altogether was 3 at a little bit after I started. So um yeah, I think next time what's gonna have to happen is gonna have to basically just promote this and just say, hey, I'm gonna be on at a certain time and kind of go from there. So um I mean I especially when we do the Knicks one, I definitely wanna have a pretty good feel for I wanna have people on. So people watching, I should say, because I think it's interesting to kind of get Lee J's perspective on what he sees when he's watching a game. So all right, we're back here. 8:22 left in the first half. St. John's is up 24-18. And this is see Edgerfor was just open in the fucking paint and up in the turnover here. Turnover here by the Red Storm, and Edgerfor is called for the foul here. And see, this is where things are gonna get a little dicey. This is I mean, it is what it is. They go through these stretches. Excuse me. I feel like they always go through these stretches for every game, and this is one of them right now. As Darling gets a steal, the edge of four, dunks it. There you go, baby. Darling again, second steal of the game. Now they got the full court pressure on, and this is what St. John's has to do, right? This is what I talk about. So don't let up here as we're about 15-20 minutes from the first pitch at Port St. Lucie. Yeah, Creighton's not going away in this game. I mean, it's not even. I think we know that's not going to happen. Um, as Darling hits from the top of the key. Woof, man. he has he has definitely he has definitely become like a fan favorite, and he's just Patino has his trust, which is good. Patino has his trust to run the offense, and that's really a good thing at the end of the day. So look at that, man! What a fucking steal. I gotta say that it is not easy to do what he just did, where the ball handler kind of has the ball. The ball handler's in between Darling and the ball itself, and Darling gets down low and just swipes the ball at the ball and does it without fouling, and is able to do that in a way where, as Creighton just hits a 3-pointer there, and does it in a way that he can swipe the ball out and then go after the ball, transition, get the ball to edge of four, dunk right down the middle of the lane. Crazy. Sanding for three, misses. So this is getting a little. Oh, okay. So St. John's had a steal here, and they get the bucket and the and one. So Sellers is going to go to the line to shoot the old fashioned, try to complete the old fashioned 3-point play. St. John's is up here 30-23, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Now 31-23. 6:27 left here in the first half. Now we got the full court press as usual, but there is a foul on St. John's here. So getting down into the nitty gritty here in the first half, man. I mean, Creighton's pushing. They're pushing hard here. So I'm not surprised. Patino looks pissed, which is not surprising as Darling is back in the game for Sellers. I think that's yeah. Creighton's in a bonus right now for 1-1. So going to be shooting at least one free throw for every foul the rest of the way here for the first half. It's getting dicey. We knew this was going to be tough, right? By the way, it's funny now that they got the flailing and tube men behind the basket, which I think it's funny because that shit was not allowed. Let me tell you something. I don't think people realize this was back when I was in school, right? There were rules during conference play. As Hopkins just hit a free throw jumper, there were rules during conference play that the crowd, the student section, couldn't do certain things that they could do during non-conference play. I'll give you an example because I had season tickets my senior year. We had like these megaphones in the student section when I was there. And you have to remember back then, the student section at St. John's was off to the side at Alumni Hall, what was once called Alumni Hall. It wasn't behind the buckets like they have the seats there. They have the seats there now. So I think it was the shout out to Mike Utemian. He was the class president that year and student government body president that year. And he bought like these like little megaphones. They were like the things that you see like the cheerleaders use, right? Where they're not like the mechanical ones. They're just the cone that you shot into in it. Anyway, so what we did, I can't remember what the game was, but I just remember it being a conference game. And bro, we were fucking all over the inbound guy because we were close enough that, you can really get in the ear of the inbound guy. And we were like yelling in the into the megaphones. And I'll never forget the the SID, Dom Sienna. That's a name for some people. Dom Sienna came over and told us, you can't do that. It's different rules for conference play. Uh with the shouting. We were fine during non-conference stuff, but we couldn't do it um during the conference play. So I mean that kind of sucked, but it was what it was. We got 5:07 left here. St. John's is up by 8. 39, I should say. 33-24. It's a tough game, man. It's a tough game. You knew it was going to be coming off of what happened with Creighton winning against Hartford, against UConn earlier in the week as Darling hits the first of two free throws here to put St. John's up by 10 with 5:07 left in the first half. Um, Again, like I said at the beginning of the game, Darling misses a second free throw. Woof. Hopkins going for the rebound. A hard foul there. So they're going to end up shooting a free throw here at least. But my watch is telling me I need to get up. Ooh, man, that was an ugly fall right there. Patino's pissed. Bourbon Street on Bayside. I don't know what the hell that is. What is that? Looks like it's a jazz bar. God, I I wish Lee J was here because we know some things about what was that thing called? Bourbon Street? Bourbon Street Bayside. What is this? Bell Boulevard. Oh my god. That's a it's a popular Cajun Creole restaurant, Bayside, Queens, known for its New Orleans inspired dishes like gumbo, jambalaya. Oh, that actually sounds really good. If you're from New York, specifically if you're from Queens, you know about Bay Boulevard and Bayside. That is what's the nicest way to put this? that is quite that can be quite the scene on a Friday or Saturday night. Uh, and the reason why I know this is because I used to hang out with people that hung out on Bay Boulevard. I've gone on at least one date where I took somebody out for a first date on a restaurant on Bell Boulevard. Lee J is very familiar with Bell Boulevard. I'm going to text him right now. You're missing a conversation about Bell Boulevard in Bayside, which I know you know well. And when I mean conversation, I'm having a conversation with myself. And when I mean conversation, when I mean conversation, it's a conversation with myself. Anyway, 4 minutes left here. St. John's just made a bucket. Dylan Mitchell with the layup right down the center of the lane. here to put St. John's up 37 to 20, 36 to 27. St. John's has 20 points in the paint. I mean, I'm not surprised. They're just bullying the shit out of Creighton right now in the paint as Creighton just misses another layup here in the lane. Um, wow, nice pass right there from Mitchell to Ejiofor cutting down the middle of the lane. Ejiofor did a little twirl, but got fouled on the attempt there. So I think it looks like he's going to be shooting two when they come back from the TV timeout. So yeah, let's reset here. I am streaming to nobody right now. Maybe one person. I see one. I don't know who that is, but I thank you for joining. Um, yeah, we're I don't know, probably 10 minutes from who you got. I'm a St. John's fan, so that's who I am going for here. I mean, I went to St. John's, so uh, that's my team. That's who I went to school, and yeah, um, yeah. Lee J just just texted me. Um, yeah, that's my. I went to St. John's, so that's uh, that's who I got on this in this game. I didn't bet or anything. You can't bet on St. John's. That's like one of the rules when they I gotta get my iPad ready here. Oh Jesus, I almost just knocked my water down. That would have been a terrible thing. Um one of the things here in New York, and this is the case I think everywhere, that you cannot bet on the local college teams. They're not available to bet unless they are in a tournament. But I even think for St. John's that's not the case. I know that's the case in Massachusetts where you can't bet on the teams, but you can bet on. Let me just make sure the volume here is. See, this is always a problem when I come and do try to get this going on the Fios TV on my. It keeps on saying I look like I'm offline, but I'm not. This gets a little annoying. Technology. They're almost at halftime here in New York, but at the Garden, I should say. But I'm trying to get my desk is a mess right now. By the way, I really gotta get that taken care of. Yeah, I'm trying to get this set up here with the Mets game so I can get that going. All right. Let's get to the guide. And let's get to SNY. Get that queued up. All right. All right. So it's like I got three screens. Now we got three screens going right now. Good grief. So St. John's is up 10 here with 3:37 left in the game. Um, yeah, We're going to transition here to Mets here in a few moments because we're going to be coming up on halftime, and that will be a good spot to start talking about some Mets, and we'll keep an eye on St. John's. We'll keep an eye, but they're up by 10, 3:12 left in the half, and they got a little bit of chance to do some damage here at the end of the half. Darling almost traveled there. Um, Darling again, little mid-range jumper from like a little bit below the elbow area. My God, man, that guy is just. It's What does he got? He's got 5 points, only five. That's interesting. Seems like he's done so much more in this game. He's got the steals and everything, so that's probably the reason why. But Edge Ford just blocked, but then they turned it over on the transition. But that's okay. Let's see the block here. Man, he's you. That is, I gotta say, that is. Oh, I've always been amazed at like the skill to be able to block a shot like that without fouling because you basically have to go. You almost have to go straight up there to block that shot. So that was a job. That was a job well done there by Ejiofor. So yeah, St. John's has a the up 12 with 2 minutes left. This is the time to put the hammer down here before halftime. I mean, settle yourself here and really, as Darling just got fouled there. Um, Now you got to make sure you don't come out in the second half and um, shit the bed here because that's happened a few times here too for St. John's, where they come out with these, they come out swinging and you know maybe fall asleep a little bit in the second half, and they gives a team a chance to come back. So it's 1 o'clock here on the East Coast as we're getting ready for S&Y to transition from the hot stove to putting on the Mets game. And that's going to happen here. And you're going to have to excuse me because I want to listen to the intro. So I'm going to put myself on mute and I'll be right back. It's time, guys. It's time for some Mets baseball here. Oh, man. Woof, crazy. Let's just get this end of this half going here for uh St. John's is up 40-27 with 40.3 left. Let's see if I can turn on the closed captioning here. I kind of do want to see what they're saying. I don't think I can put on closed captioning, but I mean, listen, it's the first. Look at that. There's Gary, Keith, and Ron. I tell you what, the quality of this is much better on my iPad than it is on my computer, which is on my laptop, which is interesting. Like the picture is much clearer. So, um, yeah, I would have to imagine that what they're talking about right now on the broadcast, yeah, the notable offseason additions, Bichette, Polanco, Simeon, and Luis Robert Jr. This is a different looking team right now. That's just kind of it at the end of the day. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these pieces fit together as we're coming down now to the final seconds of the first half here in at Madison Square Garden. St. John's is up 42 to 27. They've got a commanding lead here as they go into halftime. And Creighton gets fouled there, and the 16.1 seconds left. But yeah, going back to the Mets, I mean, this is, now they're going over the notable pitchers that they added in the offseason with Peralta and Tobias Myers, who came with Peralta in that trade. And then you've got the former Yankees and Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Listen, man, we've talked about this so many times on the podcast. It's like, the Mets, you got to find a way to at least be in the World Series, at the very least, be in the World Series. It looks like Zuby's in some foul trouble here. And that's not a good sign when you're 16.1 seconds left in the first half. And I wonder if he's got three fouls. So St. John's has the final shot here for the half. Darling takes a three, misses. That's going to do it. So that's the Garden. We're at halftime here. St. John's is up 42 to 27. Pretty good first half. They're basically on track to match their season average for points right now. So they're doing what they need to do, and we're going to transition now to talk about the Mets. Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm going to go because I've been doing this now for an hour and a half. But we'll get some baseball in because obviously I said I was going to do baseball here, so I just want to make sure that we talk about the Mets here for a little bit as we watch baseball here for the first time in 2026. Listen, it was interesting yesterday with Pete Alonso hitting a home run in his first at bat for the Orioles down in spring training against the Yankees. So, it is what it is with that. Listen, that's it, man. You move on. These are the players that they have here now at the end of the day. And now you just got to worry about what's going to happen with this team going forward and what the players that they brought in. So, we'll see how this stuff plays out. But I will say the hot seat is on for both, I think, Mendoza and Stearns. And if the Mets stumble out of the gate here, if we get, I said during the podcast, I said 8 weeks, so 2 months. If we get to June 1st, and by the way, I'm looking out my window right now. I don't have the light on. This is just the light coming in through the window, which is natural light, which is nice. If they get off to a slow start here, and you look at June 1st, which by the way, the plan right now is I'll be in Seattle and then San Diego. There's a West Coast trip with them going out there. If by the time I land in Seattle, if their Mets are not playing well, um, it makes me wonder at what point do you make a change with at manager, right? I mean, people are already talking about it. Um, I mean, how can you not? Listen, this is as they got the pictures for today for the Mets. Waddle's in the start, and then Brazaban, of course. Of course. Oh God, that's funny. That I gotta text the group chat. Uh, anyway, going back to the Mets and Mendoza, I got to imagine that if they don't, you know, get off to that good start, um, see what happens. We'll see what happens. I guess the question would be who would take over, right? Because the bench coach, let me see. I always forget what his name is, and he came from Mets current bench coach. He came from Houston. I know that. Um, yeah, Kai Correa. Um, he's only 37 years old. I'm sorry. He came from. Let's see what this ESPN article says. This is from October 14th. Uh, he's had previous, so he came from Cleveland. Uh, and he was an interim manager with the San Francisco Giants at one point. So I don't know. Is it going to be Correa? Is it going to be Carlos Beltran? I mean, it's just what kind of spam am I getting right now? Of course. Um, Here we go. March Madness preview. Here's the thing. So number one seeds Michigan, Duke, Iowa State, Arizona. Number two seeds Houston. Da, da, da. So Saint they don't even have preliminary seeds. St. John's is not in the top four for either region. Florida, this is number three seeds. They went too fast on that. I guess I could rewind this. So one seed, let me pause this. One seeds they have right now, Michigan, Duke, Iowa State, Arizona. Okay. Number two seeds are Houston, Illinois, UConn, and Purdue. Number three seeds are Florida, Kansas, Nebraska, Gonzaga. And number four seeds are Virginia, Vanderbilt, Texas Tech, and Michigan. So this little preview thing here, this is what I was talking about earlier in the stream, if you were here, about okay, where are the teams standing? So St. John's is not even considered. I don't know. Anyway, that's interesting. We're gonna get going with the first pitch here in Port St. Lucie as Waddell throws a ball up high as we are on the way for 2026 spring training. Man, I can't believe baseball's back, baby. Woof. Little short ground ball to second base. Simeon gobbles it up, throws it over to first for the first out of the inning here. Um, so we got Soto, Taylor, Melendez in the outfield, Bichette, Mauricio, Simeon, Rojas in the infield, Barnes behind the plate, and Waddell on the mound. I think the interesting thing here with the Mets, if you guys haven't heard, is how yes, NCAA reveals current top seeds. I'm all over the place, guys. So St. John's is not amongst the top 16 seeds right now. Which is interesting, I think. But I guess it kind of is what it is. Yeah, something to keep an eye on. Uh going forward. But getting back to baseball, I can't even remember what I was saying. I think I was telling this to Lee J on the podcast. I think for this year, I'm probably going to be watching a little bit more of. Let me bring this more over here. The microphone. Um, I think I'm probably going to be watching more spring training this year, only because I'm curious to see how these things play out as far as the positions. Like, I'm going to see what Bo Bichette does at third base. Like, I'm going to get the fucking ball hit to him every single time. you know, like I kind of want to see how these things. I kind of want to see how these things play out here at the end of the day. So, how this defense plays out, because when you talk so much about, and it's a ground ball that Mauricio at short fires over to first, and that retires the side here. So Waddell sets them down 1, 2, 3 in the top of the first inning. Um, yeah, you talk so much about what's going on with the defense, and here's the problem that I have, right? The problem that I have is you're talking about run prevention, but yet you got guys playing essentially out of position. And what do I mean by that? Bo Bichette's an infielder, but Bo Bichette is now going from shortstop to third base. I'm not worried about Juan Soto in left field because he used to play out there. So that's not even a consideration. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see Carson Bench today. I hope we do. Um, I don't know what his apparently he can hit, right? But I don't know what his defense is like. First base is going to be interesting because we don't know really how that is going to play out at the end of the day. You can't just put anybody over there. And Eric has said it on the podcast. Ask Keith Hernandez how easy it is to play first base. It's not that easy. So, you talk about run prevention, but yet you've got guys playing out of position. I think they're pretty good up the middle. I think you've got Lindor at short. You have Simeon at second base. And despite what you say about Robert and his offense, the guy can play the outfield. You would think that it does not affect him. But, we shall see. We shall see what happens and how this all plays out if the Mets come to the plate here in the bottom of the first. Obviously, Lindor is not leading off today because he's hurt. Don't know what the timeline is for him, and Simeon's going to lead off here, batting from the right side, and swings at the first pitch and pops it up in the infield. Third baseman goes into shallow left field and makes the catch for the first out in the bottom of the first. And here comes Mr. Soto. And if you guys remember last year, this dude hits a home run, the first pitch, the first at bat as a Met. Um, I think it is safe to say that this is a different Juan Soto this time around, because I do believe that he was. Listen, all the chatter about the contract and the amount of money he's getting paid and this, that, and the third, that's all gone now, right? That's all done. That's in the rearview mirror. And I think that this guy can come in here and basically concentrate on baseball at the end of the day. I think that's what he should be doing. It looks like he's looser. It looks like he's taking more of a leadership role as he goes up 2-0 in the count, doing, picking picking off exactly where he was last year with the way he approaches these at bats, and even in spring training. My God, it's pretty awesome to watch him. And he just took a cut at a fastball and he pops it up to the shortstop, calling off the outfielder in left field, and out number two is made here. But this is and here comes Bo Bichette for his first at bat, spring training at bat here as a Met. Um, yeah, I mean, listen, Soto. I was down on him in the first couple of months of last season, and then he obviously turned it around. I do think he was getting comfortable, and I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that this time around. So we'll see kind of how things play out with him at the end of the day as Bichette takes a ball. It's 1-1 now. They just showing Lindor now on the bench with the it looks like it looks like he's transitioned to a soft cast, which is probably a good sign there. We don't really know when we're gonna see him, right? That's TBD as Bichette takes a wicked hack there, fouls it off, is down 1-2 in the count. Yeah, we don't know. Like we don't know. You hope they said that he should be ready by the opening day, which is um, where's my phone? Let's look at how many weeks out we are. Um, we are sorry. I just got distracted by there's a lot of stuff going on in the video game world. By the way, right now, stuff on Xbox and PlayStation. We are how many weeks are we out? One, two, three, four, about 4.5 weeks out from opening day as Bichette. See, this is exactly what Bichette's doing right now. I can already he's putting in an at bat, right? This is exactly the reason why they got him and why I'm happy this guy is here now because this is the type of stuff that he does is that he puts in an at bat and wears a guy out. Now he's even the count at 2-2 here. This is exactly what I got him for, right? This is exactly what you want to see from this guy. Excuse me, who's going to be batting behind. Who's going to be batting behind Soto at the end of the day? So this is good. This is a good. Even if he strikes out here, it's a good kind of start. He grounds off another. It's a fair ball down the first, and Bichette did not get out of the box well there. Almost had a base hit down the right field line, but the first baseman there made a nice play to end the inning. But it was a good at bat for Bichette there. So we are in the first inning in Port St. Lucie, and guys, I gotta admit, I'm getting a little tired. Been going on now for almost 2 hours now, and I'm doing this by myself as a test. And I think I might be ending this stream soon. This is tough to do by yourself, by the way. And the thing is like we don't really have a following. People aren't I appreciate the question by Pelly Fash Life. I don't know if you've been sticking around to watch, but yeah, I'm getting hungry. I mean, I only had a few eggs for breakfast, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in an order on DoorDash because there is a Dominican restaurant that's not. By the way, I don't have my car yet. Yeah, it's still in the shop. I was supposed to get it back. For those who don't know, I and this is like you know the lies that have been going on with my landlord about I think a snowplow hit my car here at the residence in Newburgh, and I've got circumstantial evidence that that happened, but I don't have actual proof that it happened. And after going back and forth with the landlord, and he went back and forth with the plow company, they denied that they hit me with the plow. It is what it is. But here's the situation: like the car has been, I haven't had my car since February, uh, shit, 2nd. Yeah, February 2nd. That's fucking crazy. It's been that long. So I like rented, and the second half of starting here for St. John's. I rented a car, and um, a couple of times, and it's just expensive. And I made the mistake of not getting the coverage of the rental when I moved to New York 3 years ago. I gotta do that at some point. But it's I gotta say, well, Dell's looking pretty good right now. So I should have had it back already. That's the thing I'm trying to say. But the problem was the door had to be replaced, the rear passenger side door, and the door got damaged on the way up here where the body shop is. So that happened. They had to reorder another door, and then the second door got delayed by weather getting up here, whatever weather was going on. So that is a situation right now. I talked to the guy, emailed him on, I think it was Wednesday, and he said maybe Friday, the latest early next week. Nothing happened on Friday. We're getting a fucking snowstorm up here on Sunday. I'm not going to pick that thing up on Monday at all. So they better I'll come get it on depending on what time it's ready on Monday. I might not get the car till Tuesday. Woof, because it's supposed to snow. Oh my god. Crazy. We're supposed to get a lot of snow up here. My god. Awful. Awful, 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 awful. Um, damn, bro. We're gonna get pounded in the next week. I'm hoping that this storm kind of goes a little bit more south because Tuesday's going to be the best time to get my car, really. Uh, we shall see how that goes. Anyway, at least it's not going to be as cold. Anyway, but yeah, the car, hopefully it's ready Monday or Tuesday, and we'll kind of go from there as well. Those already got two outs here. Here comes out number three. Got a high infield pop, and Bichette's under it now and easily makes the catch at third base. That's the thing. You want to see him make the very easy plays, and I think that's going to happen. You'll be curious to see, going forward how that all plays out. Okay, let's By the way, the place is called Nelly Latin Restaurant. This is here in um in Newburgh. Um, I'm probably going to get the usual, which is see, they call it authentic Dominican and Puerto Rican food. I've been pretty good eating like this week and walking and stuff like that. And so today is kind of my cheat day in a way. Just watching St. John's here. So let's see. What are we gonna get? I gotta go with the over libel and get the chicken and rice combo. Um get that with rice and beans. And then I like getting the chicharrones, uh the fried pork chunks, basically. If you want the English version of that. Let's see. Add that. Get the half pound. I'm not gonna go with the pound. It's a lot. I'm not gonna get those donuts on Maruros with this. Oh man, they got some good fucking oh Tyrone Taylor and clean up today. Oh, wow. The Marlins center fielder having trouble with the sun and almost lost that there in the sun, despite having the sunglasses on there. That was pretty good. He fell to the floor. He fell. Well, he caught it and then he fell. So, um, St. By the way, St. They're back in the Garden right now. St. John's is up 44 to 32 with 16:33 left in the first half. So, um, okay, we are going to. This is going to come pretty fast. So, let me put this to the side for now because once I order this, that's it. The stream's over, guys. I'm hungry. I've been doing this now for 2 hours. And this is a lot to do when you're bike. Again, I just wanted to test it out. I wanted to see how this was going to work with the stream. And Mauricio just grounds at the short. Nice play by the shortstop. Slings it. Throw is high. First baseman does catch it, but Mauricio gets in there, and he's on first base with one out. I'm curious about like Mauricio and where he fits into this team this year. I just don't. Not all these guys are going to be able to. It's still you still have a problem, right? There's still the issue. I would imagine what's going to happen is Mauricio, if you'll keep him on the major league roster because you don't know what's going to happen with Lindor to start the season. So Mauricio is your insurance at shortstop, and he takes off stolen base. He's safe. I want to see that more from him. That's a good way. That's a good way to make yourself more valuable there. Is start stealing bases. So he's on second base now with one out, and he got a running start. Good pickup. Was in there safely, easily, I should say. And he's a big dude. He's got a. I like that. That's gonna be a new dimension for the Mets. Going forward. So I like it. Uh, MJ Melendez is up now. They picked up this guy right before spring training started to kind of be insurance. I think in the outfield, if I'm not mistaken, or first base. I can't remember where they want him to. Probably the out. I think he's playing the outfield. Yeah, he's playing right field today. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, but like I'm curious to see. Maybe this is part of what Mauricio is going to do. And just you know make himself more valuable to this team going forward. It's now 3-1 to Melendez here. So I got to run our second one man out, man in scoring position in the bottom of the second inning here in Port St. Lucie, Florida. The timeout there by Melendez at the plate. It looks like they're sold out there in Port St. Lucie. I'm not surprised. It's the first spring training game of the year, and despite all the changes that happened, the Mets are still a World Series. Listen, guys, the Mets are still a World Series favorite. Some people don't want to believe that or can't believe it, Lee J, but it's the truth. They are a World Series favorite coming into this year. So let's see how things play out in spring training and whether the odds change as we go along here. But right now, they are, you know, they're a favorite. So Melendez barely just fouls off a breaking ball from the pitcher Gusto, whichever way you want to say it. But man, there's a show Mendoza in the dugout. There's got to be a there's got to be a shitload of pressure on that guy. He knows it. Everybody knows it. This is not. I do think though, the way I look at it, the reason why he probably wasn't let go in the off season or after the season was done, my gut is that the players do like playing for him because we didn't hear anything really about that, right? Um, I do think the players like playing for him, but at the end of the day, you still got to lead as Melendez strikes out on a fastball off the plate. That ball was really off the plate. Like I don't know what the fuck he was swinging at there. Let's see the replay on this tailing fastball. Oof. Outside corner. Yeah, you know you swung on a ball there, brother. He knows it. He knows it. Um, Barnes is up now. I'm surprised it wasn't a challenge on that one because it was the pitcher can challenge the ABS stuff here, but I guess in a 1-0 count. The first pitch of that bat, you're not going to do that, right? Ball outside. St. John's is up 48-34 here, 14:47 left. I think there's a Knicks game tonight. That's why they're playing at noon. It's like the court's, let's see, the court looks like it's ready for Knicks. Okay, I'm going to place this order because I'm getting hungry, guys. I am getting hungry. Because we're going to end the stream here soon. Let's see. On time between 153 and 203. So it's a ball. That's a fucking fastball right down the middle. My God. What are we doing here? So food is ordered. Let's see what they say. Yeah, about 20 minutes. So we'll go a little bit. We'll go a little bit more here. Because once that food's on the way, that's it. This is done. Stream is done. I've been on here for a little over 2 hours already. Hopefully, they're showing David Peterson in the dugout right now. Hopefully, yep. And there goes Creighton. They just turned it over on a 5-second violation ground ball, a third. It's going to end the inning for the Mets there. Anyway, going back to St. John's with the turnover there on Creighton on the full court pressure. It was a 5-second inbounds violation. Yeah. What was I saying? I can't even remember. This is this is what happens when you go for so long and there's nobody here to kind of like bounce off of you. All right, guys, I'm gonna tap out. Um, this was interesting to do for a couple of hours. I'm hoping the next time I do this that I'll have somebody on here with me. Well, we mentioned we got to figure out. I want to figure out because I want to promote it on the podcast and say, Lee and I are going to sit down. We're going to watch the Knicks game, uh, stream it. Stream the watch along, and you know, kind of go from there. I'm glad that everything worked out. I was a little worried about the internet and how this is going to work and whether the stream was going to be good or not. But it seems like everything has worked out really well. So, I wish you would have had more people on, but when you do this at the last minute and don't give anybody any heads up, it's not surprising. But appreciate the people who tuned in and who might tune in later on. If you can, please subscribe to the channel And then if you want, we are two dummies that just watch on Apple Podcasts and Spotify mostly. We're on social media. Um, yeah, subscribe to the podcast and hopefully as Carl Edwards Jr. comes into the game, he's going to be the next pitcher here for the Mets. But yeah, appreciate Met. St. John's is almost they're up 17 points right now. 13:31 left in the game, so that's pretty handily in tow there. I'm gonna eat. I am going to go for a long walk before this weather, comes in. It's 44 degrees, so I'm gonna go for a nice little like 2 mile walk and get my steps in as much as possible, and then I'm gonna come back and probably play some video games for the rest of the day, and go from there. But yeah, thanks for joining. I appreciate it, and hopefully uh I'll have a second person on next time, and I like how I can see myself in the corner here. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Peace out, everyone, and we will see you on Tuesday for the next episode of the podcast. See ya.